Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unit 3 lesson on harmonic dictation. For this week, we are going to add in, or for this unit, we are going to add in the tonic, the predominant, the dominant, and the tonic. So far, we've only had the tonic expansion section, and now we're going to tack on the rest of it. So remember that the purpose of the tonic expansion is to establish the tonic. And then we're looking at the purpose of the predominant, the dominant, and the tonic. So the predominant is to tell your ear that the dominant is coming. And then the dominant is to set up the tonic and say, we're almost there. We're there. We're there. We're there. Tonic, we're there. Okay. So if you can think of it as like a train pulling into the station, we get to the predominant. The conductor announces, we're about to pull into Temple University Station. Or whatever, so you guys might know better than I would. And then the dominant is the engines are slowing down, and then tonic, you're there, the doors open, and you exit the train. I don't know if the analogy really plays out, but there you go. So what is the dominant preparation? There's only a few chords that can be used for dominant preparation, and this week we're only going to have 2. So if you remember on your flashcards, there's a separate section. So far, you've only had tonic expansion. And then there's alternative opening, which we'll get to next week. But now we're filling in the little block for dominant preparation. And so far, we're only going to have 2 chords, the 2 chord and the 4 chord. And these can be in root position or first inversion most of the time. This week we're only going to have 2 and 4. Next week we're going to add in the 6. Okay, 2 and 4, or 4 in root position and 2 in first inversion is the most common. In minor, we cannot have the 2 in root position because it's diminished, and we're not going to have diminished chords in first inversion the vast majority of the time. Okay, so here you have in major and here you have in minor, but again, for this week, no 6 chord. And it's going to fill this predominant conductor announcing that you're almost there voice. So, right. So here we have for major, we're going to have 2, 2, 6, 4, or 4, 6. And in minor, 2 diminished 6, 4, and 4, 6. Now, what solfege syllables do you expect to hear? So for the 2 chord, re in root position. So these are the root position chords, re and fa. So you can add in on the back of your re card, you can add in the 2 chord in root position under predominant. And on the fa, you can add in the 4 chord in root position. And under fa, you can also add in the 2, 6 or the 2 diminished 6 in minor. And then la, you get the 4, 6, so the 4 chord in first inversion, and lay, you get in minor the 4, 6 in first inversion. Okay, so take some time to get your cards in order and process all that information. Maybe pause. Let's take a look at the master chart. So re continues to grow. Okay, so re, we have these 3, but now we have a distinction. These are tonic expansion. This is predominant. Okay, so different functions, and they occur at different places in the progression. So if you identify something during the mapping section as predominant, and then you hear re in the bass, it has to be the 2. Okay. Fa, tonic expansion only has 5, 4, 2. And predominant has 4 or 2, 6. Again, same deal. If you hear fa during tonic expansion, it has to be the 5, 4, 2. If you hear it during predominant, it could be the 4 or the 2, 6. Okay, so that gives you your question mark. So, yep. And then 5, la, you add. So now we finally have la. You get the 4, 6, which is pretty rare, but you can have it. And then T is the 5, 6, 5 or the 5, 6. And if we bump over to minor, we don't have a tonic expansion option for minor. For re, or sorry, we don't have a predominant option for minor for re. And then for fa, again, kind of the same deal. preparation. Okay, so go over your flashcards, get them all in order, and then come back. Okay, so one more thing we're going to introduce this week, because we finally have enough chords to do it, is a chord progression chart. So this is a chart that I learned in my undergrad from Koska and Payne, the theory textbook by Koska and Payne. And I should have a little citation here, but it is a very reliable chart. Those of you that were in written theory review learned this there. But basically we can break this up into sections, okay? And same with major and minor. We don't have 3 and 6 yet this week. So we have tonic, dominant, / tonic expansion, and then predominant. Okay. And this is how the chords generally can and do behave. So these are rules. A law is something that's fixed, like a major scale has do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do in it. A rule is that the 4 can go to the 2 or the 2 can go to the 4, and both of them can go to the 5. Okay, so these things, they're a little bit flexible, but they're pretty predictable. And for our purposes right now, they might as well be laws. Okay, so you can treat them as laws until I tell you otherwise. All right, and same for minor. We have our predominant, our dominant / tonic expansion, and then our tonic. Okay. Now, when we put it all together, we can see how it works in a progression. So we have our tonic expansion. So hopefully you're used to the sound of tonic expansion by now. We're establishing the tonic, and then we're going to go on. So predominant, dominant, tonic. Okay, so think about this sound, and now in your mapping, you're going to have, it's going to start with tonic expansion, and you don't know how long it's going to last. But then the predominant hopefully will start to pop out for you in your ears. Okay, so you want to do enough practice in Aurelia that you get good at identifying, okay, where's my predominant chord or section? There can be more than one chord for the predominant. My dominant, this week we're only going to have one chord for dominant. Going forward, we could have more than one. And then tonic. Okay, so you're going to be mapping out that in your first couple of listenings in Aurelia. Get really good. Actually, I would say just go into the practice section and listen and practice until you can clearly identify those sections. And then you can go, obviously, to get the answer, you have to go and put in some chords. But you can even just like put in fake stuff just so you can get the answer and see the answer. It's not going to affect your grade if you're doing that in the practice section. So think through the bass line. So first you're mapping, which is going to help you think through the bass line. And it's going to give you the structure of the progression. So the map gives you the structure. And the bass option tells us what and where. So let's try one. So it's 6 chords. It's an E major and it starts on 1 chord. No big surprise there. So first step is you're going to map. And you're going to ask yourself, where is the predominant chord? Okay, so E major. I'm actually going to play the bass down an octave. It'll make it a little easier to hear. Actually, correction. I'm going to play the bass up. And then when we get to the bass part, I'll drop it down an octave to make it pop out a bit more. So first listening, you're only asking yourself one question. Where is the predominant? That's it. Okay, so where's that 2 chord or 4 chord? Just listen for when you hear that sound of the conductor. It's like you're taking a nap on the train, but you know in your ear you're listening for the Temple University station. Okay, it's waking you up. Okay, listen once more. So the predominant chord is here. Okay, so the predominant, you don't even need the bass line yet to do your analysis. You know that we're only gonna have tonic expansion at the beginning. So let's map this out. Tonic expansion. So 1s and 5s and 7 diminished 6 chords. That's all that can be here. So that limits your bass. Predominant can be the 4, the 2, 6. More than likely it's gonna be 4 and a 2, 6. That's fa. And then it could be a 4, 6, which is going, and we'll talk about what that would look like in the bass in a minute. And then it could be a 2 in root position, which would be re. So those are your only options. And then this has to be your dominant, and this has to be your tonic. So you could even go ahead and write in, you don't necessarily know what octave it's going to be in, but you could write in that this has to be your bass here. Okay, one of these two has, this is sol. Okay, so let's do one more before we go on. I said we were done. But before we go on, let's do one more. Let's do one listening to tell where our tonic and our dominant chords are in here. Okay, that's also going to help us with the bass. So one more listening just for identifying the tonic and the dominant chords. Okay, so this is tonic, this is dominant, this is tonic. Okay, let's do 2 listenings for the bass. I'm going to drop it down the octave. Okay, second listening. Remember, you're listening for leaps versus steps versus skips. Okay. Okay, good. So we have a leap up to a dominant and then moves down by step. So it goes up, down by step. So that has to be do, fa, mi. And then does it go up by step, down by step, or up by skip? It goes up by step. So it has to be mi, fa, sol, do. It's the upper sol. Okay, so that means these are our 2 options. And we already know our options here, right? We have 1. This has to be a 5-4-2, given our solfege. This has to be a 1-6. And then is it major or is it minor? That's the only thing you're listening for. Oh, and then this, is it a 5? So our dominant options, is it 5 or 5-7? And we'll talk about that a little bit when we look at the answer. Okay, so you are asking yourself, is this major or is it dominant? And is this major or is this minor? We'll move the bass back up. So 2 listenings for chord quality. Is it major? Is this major or minor? And is this dominant or tonic? Okay. So one more listening and I'll prompt you again to listen. So let's take a look at the answer and we will talk about it. There we go. So we have a 2-6 here. It was minor. And then a 5-7. So it's dominant. So minor. if it was a 4, it would have been this. So it's major, minor, major, right? Kind of the major is much brighter. Then 5, 7. If it was just a 5 chord, it would be so 5 versus 5, 7. Have that tritone in there. 1. Okay. Let's try another one. Okay, so let's do 2 listings for mapping. So first, ask yourself where the predominant chord is. There's 6 chords. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's the predominant chord? Where is the, and then in the tonic expansion, where is the dominant chord and where are the tonic chords? So right now, this is relatively easy. Let's actually go through the logic. We know this has to be tonic. We know this has to be dominant. So we know if there's only one predominant chord, it's here. If there's more than one, you have to ask yourself, where does the predominant section start? So this is the question you're asking is actually, so the tonic expansion starts here. How long does it last? Where does the tonic expansion section end? Does it end? Are there 2 predominants? Or is there just one? Okay, so first mapping, just answer that question. We're in G minor. Okay, so if you have the answer to the first question, is there more than one predominant? The answer is no, there's only one predominant. So this is your start of your predominant section. This is your tonic expansion section. So next question, where's your dominant chord? Or maybe it's just a regular 5 chord. So where's your major chord? Because we're in minor, so the 5 chord should pop out. The difficulty arises when you're in major and you have a major 1 chord and a major 5 chord, and then it gets a little trickier, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So let's try it. So one more listening for the mapping. Okay, so there's a major or dominant chord here. All right. 2 listings for the bass. So use this to your advantage. This has to be some kind of a 1 chord. No, this is tonic. This is minor. So this is either a 1 or a 1/6. So you either have May or Do in the bass here. Okay. Some sort of 5 chord here. Predominant has to be Re, Fa, or Lay. Actually, it can't be Re. It's either Fa or Lay, right? Because we don't have a diminished 2 chord in root position in minor. So this is Fa or Lay. And then this has to be Sol, and this has to be Do. So on this first one, listen for contour, skips versus steps. So if there's a big skip, mark it out. If it's moving by step, mark which direction it's moving. Okay, so you probably got that the bass, at least for the first 3 notes, is moving up by step. Do, Re, May. So we have Re, which is our wild card. So we're going to have to listen a little bit more there when we get to the chord quality. Now, what happens here? It gets kind of weird, right? So don't listen for what this skip is. Listen for what happens after the skip. Does it go down by step or does it go up by step? It's moving by step. Listen for that. And I'll show you what I mean when we get there. Okay. So just ask yourself what happens after. So how do we get from the 4th to the 5th chord? Listen once again. I'm going to play that again. Do you know the answer? If you don't, back up and get some more listenings. I'm going to give you the answer. So it's going down by step. So we have sol, do, and it's going down by step. So that means that we have lay. So we have do, re, mi, lay, sol, do. So if it's lay, it has to be a 4, 6. Here, this could be a 5 or a 5, 7. This has to be a 1. The re, right, has 3 options now. It could be a 5, 6, 4. It could be a 5, 4, 3. Or it could be a 7 diminished 6. So you're really going to hone in on the quality of this chord. This has to be a 1, 6 because we have May. Okay, so you're listening for the 2nd chord and you're listening for the 2nd to last chord. 2 listenings for chord quality. Okay, listen one more time. Is this major or dominant? Minor. Okay. I'm going to show you the answer. So here's the answer. I changed some things though. So let me actually go through. So first of all, that's right. And then this, I decided to throw you a curveball and give you this 4. So that's a 4, 6. And then I actually took out a note. So we had a 1, a 5, 6, 4, just a passing 6, 4 major chord. There were only 3 notes, so that should have been a clue. If you heard this sort of like emptiness of it, this is a clue that you have the 5, 6, 4, a 1, 6, a 4, 6, just a regular old 5 chord, and a 1. So with that answer, let me play for you what we had. 4, 6, 5, 1, and then I actually added in the little bass tenor note there. Okay, that is it. So go over to Aurelia and do your practice, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.